Hey there, Jenny. Jenny, I forgot to tell you one thing. The brayer from the mini catalog. Hi there, Vesta. We're going to wait just about 30 seconds for some more people to jump on, and then we'll get started. Welcome everyone to Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. I'm coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio on January 30th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I've got a really fun project for you today. I said that today would be Make It with Mary, and for this I posted some materials for you to prepare if you wanted to make these 6 easy cards along with me. And I'll just review really quickly what those 6 items are in case you want to, you didn't see that or you forgot, but you want to go ahead and grab those items. First of all, you're going to need 2 coordinating pieces of cardstock. You'll need one that's 12 by 12, or not cardstock, DSP. Okay, 2 pieces of DSP. One is 12 by 12 and the other is 6 inches by 12 inch. And I will be showing you how to cut those. And then you need 6 card bases. Mine happen to be basic white thick. And then you need 6 pieces of cardstock of the same color. And these should each measure 3 1/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch. And then you're going to need your adhesives, your paper trimmer, and we're going to make some great cards. Quick reminder that, first I should say thank you to the many people that reached out. Tony, I know you left me a phone message. I so appreciate that. It was really sweet, and I haven't gotten back to you. But I've received cards and texts and messages and phone calls from so many of you since I had my fall 3 weeks ago and resulted in a slip disc. Just a quick update, I'm doing much better. It's not completely healed. I saw the doctor last week and I'll see her again in 4 weeks. Different kind of steroid is being used now, and I've started physical therapy last week, which is helping a lot. My next goal is to be able to sleep in my own bed because I'm not sleeping well. I'm in the recliner every night. So that's the biggest challenge. But I do feel like I've turned the corner and I'm getting around much better, just being extra careful and hopefully it will heal completely. But thank you all for your love and support, your concern. I appreciate you. I'm going to flip my camera around now, and then we will get started on today's demonstration. I think you're going to love it. And would you please be so kind as to share this live video and or tag your friends in the comments so that we can bring others in to join us this afternoon. Okay, once again, this is a Make It with Mary Facebook Live, meaning that you can make the cards right along with me if you like. I am going to show you something using the Thoughtful Moments Hybrid Embossing folder, but before then, again, if you jumped on late or you missed the part about Make It with Mary, and didn't see the list of supplies, I'll tell you really quickly. 2 pieces of DSP, one measures 12 inch by 12 inch, the other 6 inches by 12 inch. You'll need 6 card bases. Mine happen to be white because that's what I think would look nice with the DSP I chose, but you can use any color. And then you need 6 more pieces of cardstock of the same color as your card base, and these should all measure 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So while we're letting some people get those supplies, I'm going to show you the the Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folder. Now, hybrid embossing folders are special because they come with both an embossing folder and a set of dies. And there is a die that directly coordinates with the embossing folder. So what it does is it is capable of cutting, die cutting, and embossing at the very same time. Okay, now you can certainly use each of these separately if you'd want. There is not a coordinating stamp set for this hybrid embossing folder, but I'm going to show you a neat way to use it. The first way you can use it is just like on these cards. I just die cut the white cardstock, and you can see it's clear enough to read. It's got beautiful texture. Okay. But if you wanted to change it up, you can add some ink to it. And I'm going to show you how I did that. Oh, okay. I think we're back. Just when I was about to close up and start over. I don't know what's going on with that. Such as Facebook and the internet, right? But what I wanted to tell you is when I'm using the Thoughtful Moments embossing folder or hybrid embossing folder, meaning I'm using both the embossing folder and the die at the same time, I'm using a piece of 6" by 6" cardstock. And the reason for that is that way I'm going to be able to die cut all of the sentiments in this folder. So I'll have a nice selection to put on my cards. However, if you know for sure you are going to make, say you're going to make Valentine cards and you want to use Love You, you can certainly just put pieces of cardstock that are the right size for that sentiment and just cut out those, okay? You don't have to cut out all of them at once, but you can. And for today's demonstration, I am going to cut out all of them. I will also say that you'll need your large Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine for this, to accommodate this hybrid embossing folder. Now I'm using a new tool. This is called a brayer. It's in our mini catalog and it's used for a lot of different purposes, but today I'm using it to apply ink to my embossing folder. One thing I want to point out to you, which I love, love, love this feature. We had a brayer many, many years ago with Stampin' Up. It had a plastic handle. It was much different. Here's something that, a feature that I noticed actually after I bought this and was using it. Do you see these? These are like little feet, little legs, I'm going to call them. And what this does is when you set down your inky brayer, it means that the brayer part, the roller part, is not touching your work surface. So unlike that other one, we had to, we were constantly putting it down on scrap paper or something like that because it was so easy to get ink on our craft surface and places we didn't want it. So I love that it has the feature of these little legs to keep the roller off our surface. No, there is only one. There is only one. There's one set of words on the embossing folder and one set of one die that cuts out all of those. Okay. It is a great feature. I love it, Linda, and you will too. So I'm just going to ink this up. And I will say that when you're using the brayer, you want to go over and over and over that. And I like to put it down and roll it, put it down and roll it, and do that several times, okay, to get it inked well. Then I'm going to be putting ink on the inside of the embossing folder that has the Stampin' Up! Logo, okay? Oops, I need to turn that over. And I'm using Pool Party, so it's pretty light. It's a little bit difficult for you to see on the video. I didn't think of that when I was making my samples, that this color would be hard to see on the video. And I'm just going to go over this until I think I have enough ink on these words. Now, if you get some ink between words, that's okay. And that might happen because I tend to press kind of hard. You don't necessarily need to, but that's just me. And if you happen to get some ink on the opposite side, don't worry about that either. Yes, you could go over that with a Stampin' Right marker, but I wanted to show the brayer today. Or could you use? Okay, Jenny, we'll talk about that. I'm sorry, I thought I read a sentence. It's actually a question. So I'm going to set this aside, flip this over. I'm going to move my ink pad, and I'm going to set this here. I'm going to now set my die in place, and it will fall into place. You will hear it. You will feel it fall into place. It's super easy. You don't have to be moving it around much to match it up. It will fall into place. Okay. So now I'm ready to put this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And remember that when we put any kind of embossing folder through our machine, we want to make sure that the folded end of the embossing folder goes through first, okay? You always want the fold of the embossing folder to go through first. If it doesn't, you can break your embossing folder into 2 pieces, and then it just doesn't work like it should, okay? Move this out of the way. Okay, my whole stand just moved. Did you notice that? I guess I was maybe bumped it or bumped the table with the putting the embossing folder up there. So now I'm going to pull all this out. It cuts really, really well. So I don't have any trouble with the hybrid embossing folder and die cutting those sentiments. Okay, you can see they all popped out. I'm sorry, my hand's really shaky. They all popped out quite easily. So now this is what I have. I've got all these sentiments to use with my cards today, and I've got a nice assortment of sentiments to choose from. Okay, do you see that? And look at the difference when I add just that little bit of color. Okay, just that little bit of color. All right, it just makes those letters pop, especially on the white. Let me show you, let me show it to you with, made some that were real red. Let me trying to find the 2 coordinating ones. Here we go. So I die cut some with real red cardstock, and then I did real red ink for the outline of the words on white cardstock. And then I thought, oh, this would be fun to even layer them like that a little, add a little more dimension. Okay, so that's one way you can use them. Now, I do want to address, a question that came up before we go on to make our 6 quick and easy cards. Jenny, I believe it was, asked, could we use Stampin' Write markers to, and I'm going to pick a brighter color this time. Could we use Stampin' Write markers to color the ink on instead of brayering the ink on? You could. You could do it like this. That is another option. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that if you want the color on the main part of the letter, in other words, you don't want the outline of the G-E-T, you want those letters to have the color, what you would do is take your Stampin' Write marker and you can go directly over those letters. Now, I've tried it. You can do it this way. I don't feel it necessarily gives you the best results, but you definitely can do that. The other thing you can do is, and I would probably do this if you have paper pumpkin kits that have the little Stampin' Spots, the little tiny ink pads. I think that works great for something like this, but you can also do this. Okay. And that way, when you put the die cut on the left side, then your white cardstock, and fold this over, your color would be on the letters themselves. Does that make sense? Okay. Nope, they should cut out correctly. Let's see, Tony. Let's see. I think they'll cut out correctly. So I want to lay this down. Let me double check. Oh, you're right, Tony. That is backwards. It would be, you're right. The ink would be behind. You know, I think I even tried that myself one day because I thought, oh, I'll try it this way. And it didn't work. You're absolutely right. Because what would happen is that ink would be on the back of the cardstock, because your cardstock has to be on top of the die. Okay. I apologize. I did even test that out. But one thing you can do is take your Stampin' Write markers, and I'm not going to do it on this card, but, and this was the alternative I came up with. You can color with your Stampin' Write marker over these embossed letters, okay? The letters are lifted up. That's a great way to do it. Kathy, you can't, let's talk about this once more before we go on. I guess you could, but then, let's see. Kathy's saying, use your ink pad here. So you could do that, okay? Now I think with this, what you're going to find is, and we'll do this one. So now you've got 2 alternate ways to put color on the main letters. I did this last week, and I didn't come down early and practice because I thought, well, I did this last week. I know what I'm doing. Let's watch what happens. I should make a video just on the different ways to use this hybrid embossing folder. Right, Tony, right. We're looking for non-directional designs. Now, for one thing, you can see that it gets quite messy, okay? So this is not one I would probably do if I were making a whole lot, just because it is that messy. But look what happens, okay? Because the raised outline of the letters pushes down, you really don't pick up the ink on the letters, okay? So the only alternative, really, if you want the letters completely colored in, would be to use your Stampin' Right marker, or you could use your blends. Blends bleed a little bit, so you have to be a little more careful not to add too much ink, but that's what you can do. But I like this because I think putting ink on the outline of the letters gives it just enough color to make the letters pop. All right, so enough of that, but you got a taste of what it's like to use the brayer, and also brayer it now while still in the folder. Oh, I didn't think about that, Jenny. Who said that? Lisa. Oh my goodness. Should we try that? Okay, I did not think about that. This is what I love about Facebook Lives. Not only do I get to share with you, trying to put this on without getting too... So what you're saying is leave the die on and brayer over it. That's not really working either, because it's not, you've got the die there. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Put it on a flat surface. I would say that does work. Who said that? Lisa? I would say put it on a flat surface, and then, oops, with those little legs, you have to remember to flip the legs up when you're brayering, okay? But you could do that. A little messy, a little heavy, but that can work as well. So who was that? Lisa, I want to say it was Lisa, the last name with a K. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, now we really will set that aside because I want to show you these 6 quick and easy cards. So if you should have your 12 by 12 piece of DSP. Some of you may be familiar with what I'm going to do, others not. And I like to assume that when everybody's coming, I have both experienced stampers and card makers, as well as perhaps some new Stampin' friends. So I'm going to cut that in half right at 6 inches. And if you have the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, this little ledge right here, you can put your 12 by 12 up to that or whatever size, and that is automatically 6 inches from that ledge to the cutting blade. Now I'm going to turn these both in the horizontal position. Yes, that can get to be an inky mess. I think that's why I like brayering, you know, and you get the ink on the outline only. It's less invasive, less messy. Now I'm going to cut these two at 4 inches. Okay, I had 12 by 12, cut it to 2 6-inch by 12-inch pieces, turned it horizontally, and cut at 4-inch increments. So now I have 6 4-inch by 6-inch pieces. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do, and if you have the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, which I love, you can cut 2 to 3 sheets of our Stampin' Up! DSP at one time. So now I'm going to cut each of these 4 by 6-inch pieces at the 5 1/4 inch mark. That means I will have a 3/4 inch by 4-inch strip left. And we will be using those tiny strips as well. I'm going to do the same thing with the other 3. So now I have 6 pieces of DSP that measure 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and then 3/4 inch by 4 inches. Then I also told you to bring a half a sheet of 12 by 12 DSP, or a 6-inch by 12-inch piece. Okay, with this in the vertical position, I'm going to cut right down the middle at 3 inches. And then I'm going to cut in 4-inch increments. Now, if you're like me and you love designer series paper, and I love to mix and match designer series paper, and I love to showcase the beautiful patterns and colors and all that, this is a technique that allows you to do exactly that, to showcase them. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to put these on first. I'm going to take my 3-inch by 4-inch pieces of DSP, and I'm going to mount them onto my cardstock pieces that measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. Okay. How many of you are making cards along with me today? How many of you saw the notice before I went live and brought some fun materials with you to make quick and easy cards with? And if you are, tell me what kind of papers you're using or cardstock colors. And after this Facebook Live, I'm going to ask you all to post pictures of your 6 quick and easy cards. Now, I'll be using the sentiments from the Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folders that I just made when I showed you. But if you don't have those, use any sentiments you like. You can punch flowers, you can add embellishments, you can do whatever you like to these 6 quick and easy cards. Remind me at the end, I have an announcement to make as well. All right, so I've got those 6 pieces of DSP mounted. The next thing I'm going to do is score my card bases. Now I'm using Basic White Thick for my card bases. The thick Basic White and thick Very Vanilla stand up sturdier when you're using them as card bases. For everything else, for the stamping, for layering, I use the regular Basic White, okay? I've learned that with my glass mat, I really need to do my scoring of card bases on top of my silicone mat. So now I have another reason, another way, another use for my silicone craft sheet. Otherwise it was getting loud and clanky, wasn't it? It was driving me nuts, so I figured it probably would drive you nuts too. So now I just do it this way. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add my large pieces of DSP to each of my card bases. You can see that when I make multiple cards, I like to use an assembly line style or process and do the same step over and over before moving on to the next step. So in other words, I don't fully complete one card and then go on and complete the second card, okay? I find it to be a little easier to stay focused and not make mistakes when I do it this way. Plus, I believe it is a time saver. And if there's one thing we all need is to make the most of our time, right? Seems like there's never enough time for everything. Well, this is something we can do using the assembly line style or process to maximize our time or make us more efficient with our time. Okay, now remember those started out as 4 by 6 pieces. So we have these three quarter inch strips. I'm just going to take these, and actually I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. That makes it a little bit easier to slide these into place. I know many of you choose to use the multi-purpose glue. That is always a great option. This way, if you start with it a little bit crooked, say like that, you can easily just slide it into place. Okay, that multi-purpose glue is a little forgiving. It gives you some time to work with it before it dries completely. And I'm just putting them on the left side. If you'd rather put them on the right side, by all means do it. Or if you are making vertical cards, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. You can either do top or bottom, left or right. Depends on if your cards are horizontal or vertical. Now, the DSP I've used today, both of them, are non-directional. So with non-directional DSPs, it doesn't matter which direction I'm cutting, and it doesn't matter the direction of the final card. I can make these cards horizontal or vertical. If you have directional DSP, make sure that when you're cutting, you've already planned if you're making a horizontal card or a vertical card, because that will determine which way you cut your DSP first, okay? All right, the next thing I'm going to do is add my layers to the front, and you know, I think I was gonna use, no, I'll use this glue. I was gonna use dimensionals, but I'm not, because I'm going to put my sentiments on with dimensionals. But my samples were all horizontal cards, okay? All horizontal cards. You probably saw those at the beginning when I showed them. They're all horizontal cards. I've got the same layout, but this time I'm just turning them to make them vertical cards, which is easy for me to do because I'm using 2 non-directional papers. The DSP that I'm using is called Softly Stippled. Both of these are from the Softly Stippled Designer Series paper pack. This is one of the Designer Series papers that you can choose as a freebie with a $50 order in the United States. Quite honestly, I wasn't sure I was going to like this Designer Series paper. I almost didn't get any. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it. I like to try different products, even if I'm not sure I will love them, because I want to know what I'm promoting to all of you. I have to say, though, I have so enjoyed using this Designer Series paper. It's in the celebration brochure. We're almost through, halfway through the celebration promotion. It ends on February 29th. It's leap year this year, so we have an extra day for stamping. I love it. And I will tell you now that on Thursday, February 1st, there will be another release of celebration products. I don't know what that is, okay? In the past, sometimes they brought out more of exclusive products, And I believe it was last year, and there were some other times they actually added items from our annual catalog. So we'll all have to wait and see what they offer for the second release of Celebration. And let's see, I want to use mini glue dots. And also, we'll be surprised together, right? Where are my minis? Here they are. All right. So now I'm just going to add some sentiments. Again, if you missed the first part of the demonstration, I showed you how I was able to get outlines of these sentiments by brayering ink onto the hybrid embossing folder. Okay, I'm going to put one more on. Now you can put your sentiments anywhere you like, top, bottom, center. I'm actually going to put this in the center, and I'm going to do it at an angle, a little bit of an angle. Okay, cute. And I'm just going to grab the next one. This is Thinking of You. You know how much I love sets with sentiments. And every single one of the sentiments in this hybrid embossing folder is one I would use often. So that makes me happy. And let's do I'm going to do this little sympathy. I've been needing some sympathy cards lately. For some special people. Also with this, you can add, I'm going to do Love You. Whoops. I like love you and miss yous and thinking of you, that kind of thing to send to my daughter, Emily, who lives a couple hours from me. And how about, oh, this is cute. You make me happy. Let's do that one. Think of all the people in your life that bring you happiness. Family, friends, relatives, coworkers that are always willing to step in and help. What a great way to say thank you. You make me happy. Okay, and then what's this one? Let's do this, Get Well. So as you can see, I've now used 6 of the sentiments, and I still have 4 left that I could make more cards just like this, or I can use them for some future cards. Okay. Now in the Celebration brochure, in addition to this softly stippled paper pack, there are some other coordinating products. This pool party ribbon, beautiful. It's fun. It's like kind of ruffly or cinched. I don't know the proper word, but just fun, super fun. So I could do something like this, make a quick bow to put under that big hello. Like I got that berry burst ink on me. Fortunately, it dried fast, so it's not Getting all over my cards and things. And I'm just going to adhere this with a mini glue dot. Actually, I'm going to use 2. The knot of this bow is a little big. So I'm just going to do that, a quick hello. I could also use, and you could see from a previous, my samples, I used up my pool party faceted gems. These also are a freebie with a $50 order during celebration. So I just added those faceted gems or faceted dots in different ways to each of the cards. I could change things up and add a punch of color by adding the Calypso Coral color, but I'm not going to. I have these. These are the adhesive backed hearts and flowers. They are part of the Be Mine suite, and they're gorgeous. In fact, Andrea was here yesterday doing some work for me, and she came across those. And she's like, oh, now I love these embellishments. And, you know, she doesn't make cards or stamp and that sort of thing. So it kind of made me chuckle because to see her get that excited over some pretty embellishments. But she commented how fun they are and pretty, and she loved the colors. So who knows, one of these days, maybe she'll be designing cards. But I thought this is something that I can add. I'm going to flip to this side. To these cards, whether that be the hearts in the pool party or the flowers in the pool party or other hearts and flowers. I love these. And I'm just going to put one like right up here. Just like that. Okay. So there's a couple of choices. Of course, you could use pearls. You can use any embellishments, ribbons, trims that you like. But I hope today that you learned a little bit about brayering and using hybrid embossing folders. And as you can see, there is more, I should say, as you could see, there are different ways that you can brayer that Thoughtful Moments embossing folder. And some work really easily, some don't work at all, but just play with it. That's how we learn, okay? Get it, play with it. It's so much fun. I will add some more embellishments to the other 3 cards, and then I will be choosing, I'll do 3 winners and send each of you a card. Just to say thank you for watching and for being a Stampin' Piece VIP. Marion Henrik had a good thought here, and I want to share it with you because I've already did this. I showed you those, the ones I made with the real red. She said, with these extras, you can just make sentiments. You can have them die cut, you can have the ink on, but have them ready for when you need them. So how often do you need a thank you note? You don't always have to put the sentiment on your cards immediately. You can have sentiments made up or stamp and die cut them as you need them and then add them to finished cards later. All right. Oh, Jane, I wasn't impressed with that bundle until I watched you. Jane, you know, sometimes that's all it takes is seeing somebody else put to use what we would probably just pass by. And I did debate buying this, to be quite honest. But I've used it. I love it. And I will continue using it because it's so much fun. And it really is quite easy. It really is quite easy. Okay. So Jane, I'm glad I made you a lover of the Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folder and the brayer. All right, everybody. And of course, you don't have to add ink. Remember, you don't have to add ink. Not doing so just adds a different look to your cards, okay? With or without ink. All right, everybody. If you would like to have your name put into the drawing to receive one of these cards, please type in the comments, thoughtful moments, okay? Thoughtful Moments is the name of that hybrid embossing folder. And remember, that bundle is the folder and the die set, I should say. There are other, where did I lay it here? There are other dies in there, some like little accents, hearts, rainbows, clouds, leaves, flowers, stars, okay? There's some other little accent dies in that set. But basically, it's one die to cut out all of the words in that Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folder. And like I said too, if you want to do all of them at once, put a 6x6 piece of cardstock in there. If you just want to do a particular one or a few, just cut your cardstock big enough to cover that one sentiment. Alrighty? Thanks so much for joining me. I've been getting a little bored because I've spent lots of time at home the last 3 weeks since I hurt my back, but I'm doing well and headed in the right direction, feeling better every day and getting around better. So I'll continue with the doctor's treatments and physical therapy, but it's just nice to connect with people when I'm not getting out of the house. So thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again Thursday, 2 p.m. right here on Stampin' Peace with Mary Nabe. Alrighty, and don't forget that Thursday, February 1st, there will be a second release of celebration items. I don't know what they are, so we'll all be surprised together. Have a great evening.